First, we start with Tobi Amusan, the top pundit from AfroSport HQ. Tayo Ogunsheye is here with me, and also the man I like to call Faiga. How you guys doing?
Well, it's fine to be here. Just few days to the World Athletics Championship. We're expecting so much drama, and the drama has already started.
Well, drama, as you call it. But then Faiga, the man with no drama. Bring the energy today.
Well, it's nice to be back on the podcast once again. And yeah, it's not looking good for Nigeria, knowing that the person who has the best shot at getting us a medal at the World Athletics Championship has been omitted. And I think this is really spelling more trouble for her. You know, we are trying to be hopeful, but it's not looking good at all.
Well, it's not looking good, but just as they say, you should never really be caught up in nostalgia for too long. But in terms of creating new history for herself, it's not been the best month for Tobi Amusan's life. And I'm sure you reckon so. Her name being obviously omitted in the list. And what does that mean? Because we got an exclusive from Dario Esson, of course, top athletics junkie when it comes to athletics journalism. And he did say that she still remains provisionally suspended, but the athletics integrity unit have said nothing about it at this time.
I think this silence is quite deafening from the AIU, the Athletics Integrity Unit, because if you provisionally suspend the defending champion of the 100 meters hurdles in the women's category and the world record holder in that discipline, and you did not state when you're going to start have the panel sit on a case, you just 10 days or just few days to the World Athletics Championships, that shows that there is so much cloud around the whole issue. Because if you, yes, you have this is supposed to be your biggest tournament, biggest championships, and you can't even put in your number one, your defending champion record holder into to make sure that everything is set before that time, before the championship starts. Talking about the panel, I think it's calls for a whole lot of controversy, because why would you, number one, if you know that someone has defaulted in terms of the wherewithal or missing test for 3 occasions, and you came out to give out a statement that, hey, she is being suspended because of so issues, then you should be able to give a time frame exactly when she should meet that panel, then defend her case, and let us know where we are. Because as we speak now, Nigeria do not even have her on the list, despite the fact that, yes, the AFN, that's the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, have a kind of a default plan, hoping that if she is cleared, she would go in. But you know that this particular situation will not help her mentally, because in a situation whereby you are still under suspension and the World Championship is here and everybody will be looking at you like, hey, there is an issue around you, forgetting not that this is not a doping issue. You know, many people will not remember that it's not a doping issue.
It's just
a whereabouts issue. That, okay,
yeah.
The tester came around, they didn't see you at a particular point, first issue, the second time, the third time, and you were unable to, maybe they didn't see you, or they didn't tell you, or there was miscommunication somewhere, and they didn't see you. And now she's been banned she's been suspended provisionally. And at that panel, if she's found guilty or she couldn't defend herself, that's maximum 2 years. For her, and that means that she will be out of the Olympics for Nigeria, as well as the World Athletics Championship. So for her now, right now, her state of mind, it will be difficult because she has been off all social media platforms. Immediately that news broke late July. She's been off. She doesn't want any kind of distraction. So for such an athlete who is 26 right now into 27, if you look at if she's banned and you want her to come back to defend her title, or to come back to the race, there's going to be a whole lot of toga around a whole lot of cloud around coming back, because people will still look at her. Remember Justin Gatlin, then he had an issue. That one was purely doping. He came back and people still looked at him as if he's still whenever he wins, people say, oh, he has undergone doping. So it's still a case of so much controversies. I think the AIU should have done better by giving us a specific date. They let the world know, because this is a world champion. She's a world record holder. And, of course, she's a representative of Africans. So many Africans in diaspora, Afro supporters, they will always want to know what is coming up, so that going into this championship, they know that yes, maybe if you're having that defend that title on that day, possibly on August 24, when the final of that 100 meters would have come up, possibly she would be able to defend her title that day. But as it is now, everything is still shrouded in secrecy.
But as you've said now, and I'm coming to you now, Faiga, as Tayo's rightly said, it's quite deafening, and I'm trying to retrace our climb up in the limelight and how it was for her, and now she's going down south, and it's quite sad, as you may think, even for Afro supporters, our fans all across the world. But how do you think there's some sort of explanation towards the AIU not even saying that this particular time is when we expect to hear probably an announcement or a statement to give the pronouncement or their penalty or whatever it might be for Tobi, because it's deafening, just as Tayo has called it.
Yes, and I think, like he rightly said, that it raises serious suspicions on the part of the AIU. Like, are they actually up to something? Because this is someone who is of very key interest to not only the Nigerian populace, but the entire African continent, and even let me even say the black race as it is. Yes, because it's phenomenal the time she was able to beat last year. So she is of keen interest, and like he also mentioned, it is not a doping. Like, she wasn't caught doping, right?
It was a whereabouts thing.
It was a whereabouts thing. So yeah. I don't think it should take long for the AIU to give a verdict so that we can know.
But it's taking long.
Yes.
Like really long, and that's why we're talking about it now.
And for me personally, I think it is not putting her in the right frame of mind, because I'm only thinking wherever she is right now. I don't even know what her state of mind is, because now that the Team Nigeria list has been put out and she's not there, I can only imagine how her psychological state is going to be, because like, okay, so is it that I'm not going? Then she begins to think everything she's done. It could be a very, very big psychological blow. And the thing is, even if she manages to get to the championships, maybe we don't know what's going to happen. How do we know if she's going to be in the right frame of mind to defend her time?
Everything seems to be cascading down, like down south. But I begin to imagine where our likely source of medals will be. I'm thinking probably Brume, because of course there's been consistency of her with silver medals and long jump categories in many events. But where do you think that Nigeria will get these medals from? Who's our most likely source of medal right now at the World Athletic Championships in Budapest?
I think the searching for medal is going to be very, very hard going into these championships. Remember, for Team Nigeria, if there is a leading light in that team going into the championship, it kind of motivate and propel others to also want to challenge. Despite the fact that you always want to look at the performances, you look at your time returns before you go into championship. That will give you a pointer into how a particular athlete can win a medal. But looking at the situation right now, you mentioned Brume, yes? But the latest report indicates that she may not even be high up there, looking at what she has done so far, because she has not been that consistent like she was last year. You know, because before Oregon last year, both she and Amusan were already tipped to win medals, but the color of medals was not determined. But this time around, she's not been in that loop of winning medals in that long jump. So it's going to be a difficult call. And if you check our athletes as well, there've been some say, oh, we don't camp athletes for championship, that they have their individual races and all that. But don't forget that we have team events, the 4x100, the 4x4, and the others, and that just those basic ones, the men and the female, the men and the women. If you look at that, how prepared are we? Remember that in this particular field event, track event, we usually have issues with baton exchange. So if you do not train, if you do not camp to sort out these little details in a baton exchange, which has cost some big countries like the US, Britain, say Germany at times in the race. It's going to be a big issue for Nigeria. And back to Amusan now. Let's even leave the athletics scene now and look at the environment. Remember when she won that race?
Yeah.
In last year in August,
yes.
People were so excited.
Absolutely.
Even children across Africa were so looking at her like, hey, she's the next role model.
Particularly, watching as the world heralded the Nigerian anthem sent some goosebumps around me.
Truly.
And to learn that we may not be seeing that now from Amusan is disheartening.
Yeah. So for children on the street, and the word on the street is that, oh, it's doping, because for the ordinary man on the street, once you have been disqualified or you are being sanctioned out of the field, they say, oh, it's doping. We just need to let people know that it's not actually doping. She wasn't even caught in doping. She was just out of whereabout. Whereabout has to do with, hey, a tester from the IAU comes around, you're supposed to be in point A. When the tester comes around, in simple terms, and you're not there, the tester can go away in 2 minutes. If you're not there, waited for 2 minutes. If you're not there, he moves away, or she moves away and records this and signal to the headquarters that, hey, this athlete is not where it's supposed to be. And that casts a whole lot of suspicion around that athlete. But possibly, if she has taken say alcohol now, maybe she went to maybe Jaya and all that for weekend groove, and at the end of the day you couldn't meet up. That's kind of be the indicator whereby it will affect your ranking. So for people on the street, the children out there, the young ones who are looking at Tosi Amusan, she has not taken any drugs. She has not taken any banned substances.
We have to resound that.
We have to say that she did not take any. It was just that she was not found at the point where she was expected to be at that time. It happened 3 times. So that calls for questioning on integrity in terms of whether she was avoiding, because they have to investigate whether she avoided in case, it has happened before, whereby athletes, once they take the drugs, they disappear. If they're supposed to be tested, they bring different urine and all that, Athletes can also be funny. You can't trust all of them. You can't trust them. So that's why they have to ensure that integrity of that sport is put on high hand. Because if you check the last time where the athletics then, the IAAF, then were known, was they were riddled with issues with drugs and all that they had the issue of credibility. Sponsors were moving away. So when Sir Sebastian Coe came up as the president, he kind of re-engineered the whole thing, re-established the trust in the sport. And that's why you have the AIU. And the AIU's job is to ensure that, hey, remember Blessing Okagbare was caught as well.
Absolutely.
So up to now, she has not defended our role, even Divine Ogujuro, So all this comes into play, and we should just let people know that, hey, it is not, she didn't take any drug. She was just out, it has to do with whereabouts. She wasn't found where she was supposed to be. And that's just as simple as it is.
Well, be that as it may, all of the action from the World Athletic Championship will be right here on AfroSport, so you may want to follow on this channel. And even through Vidivo, of course, we will be covering, if Tobi makes it, she'll be there. If she'll be there, we'll be covering here on AfroSport. And alongside also other athletes, Nigerian and African, we'll be talking about everything right here on AfroSport.
The biggest sporting event in the world this year. Over 200 countries, more than 2,000 athletes. The superheroes of athletics gather in Budapest. Welcome to where dreams unfold and records are broken. You can be part of the history. Watch live in Budapest what the world will be talking about. World Athletics Championships Budapest 2023.